What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rantional hate. So, I want to first say salute to Caleb Plant, salute to, salute to David Benavides. They both came to do what they had to do. It was a solid fight. And basically, somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, and they both performed. Now, doesn't matter who you wanted to win, who you wanted to lose, they both came in that ring and they gave a solid performance. And I feel like, people should really enjoy the fact that we got two of the top fighters that went in there and gave it their all. Now, it went the distance, and it was the kind of fight, we can all look at things and look at strengths and weaknesses and think, imagine how we think the fight's going to go and all, and that's all we can do. So I don't really like to make predictions. I mean, I'm not afraid of being wrong, anything like that. I don't know what's going to happen when they get in the ring, because at the end of the day, a fighter can improve. And so each fight, you look to see what areas a fighter improved in. Sometimes, you might not really be sure depending on the type of opponent. You know, all right, not going to go too deep into that. These two guys, what I looked at was this. Caleb Plant always does well until he gets tired. That's when his opponents start to catch up to him. David Benavides has not been known to have the best gas tank either. But along with that, Benavides, excuse me, he really doesn't have footwork. He just walks in with pressure, but he really doesn't have footwork. Okay, Caleb Plant has footwork, but with Caleb, I know he wanted to sit down on his punches, and you have to be able to not just get the respect of your opponent with so much with punching power, but when you're fast enough to get the shot there where they don't see it, and then you're just not there to be hit. You can't focus on trying to make the fans, to satisfy them if it's going to cause you to lose. At the end of the day, it's the kind of fight where people will probably respect him more, just because it was a tough fight. But you're always going to have criticism for one, and this isn't about criticizing. Here's the reality. Caleb Plant was trying to land shots and then clinch. And it got to the point where it was excessive holding. He was clinching like just repeatedly. And I had the fight scored like I had the fight scored like 4 rounds to 2. And just say by like the sixth round, it looked like Benavides was starting to get tired. So I guess he got his second win. Or was he trying to psych Caleb out? I don't know. And Caleb was moving, jabbing. He was on the back foot. He was mixing it up. He was throwing his combinations, in spurts. Caleb doesn't throw a whole lot of punches. So for Caleb's style, it has to be pinpoint accuracy. And pretty much that pressure started to get to him. Just say this, I had the fight scored 8 rounds to 4 in favor of Benavides. So after pretty much, that Caleb started to like fall apart, the body shots was hurting him. I believe in that fight last night, I believe Benavides may have taken some years off of Caleb's boxing career. Like, those body shots were vicious. And now Caleb was smart. He was throwing the jab to the body. And he was consistent with it first half of the fight. Then he started doing it more sporadically. And the last half of the fight, he wasn't throwing it as much. And he got to the point where it was a lot of unanswered punches that was being landed by Benavides. So I'm looking at the fight like, Benavides is starting to turn up now. And he just took over the fight. Now, there was no robbery there. Caleb was classy about it. He just plain and simply said, there's no excuse. Benavides was the better man. I've never heard Caleb make excuses. At the end of the day, all of the hatred, the anger, I keep saying that's not what make the fight sell. At least not to me. It might make it sell to people who just are immature. And I'm just being honest with you. What happens is once that bell rings, it doesn't matter what you say before the fight. Okay, it doesn't matter what you're saying during the fight or after the fight. It matters what's happened with the action in the ring. I've never in my life at any point been really amped up for a fight because he said he gonna break his nose, and I don't care about that. It's what you do once you get in there. So, they put that behind them, moved on. David Benavides actually said he actually likes the guy. You guys remember I said, I think a lot of people do that with Caleb because they try to give him this image like he's soft, and he's a pushover. And you see even in the press conference when Caleb took his hand, pushed him in his face, and he wanted to let him know, I'm not afraid of you. So all that extra nonsense and drama, they squash that. This stuff is just not necessary. It just happens. It happens every fight. I hate this guy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Just to end up hugging and saying, I apologize for the things I said. So you was wrong for saying the things that you said in the first place, right? So this is what I mean about all this extra drama. His father even apologized, which definitely he needed to because he always act like he's in the fight himself, But at the end of the day, it was a solid fight. And I salute both of them for what they went in there and did. And Benavides was the better man. Now, during the post-conference, not to mention, Caleb basically tweeted from the hospital, no real damage. So his nose is not broken. It was bleeding a lot. Had a cut under his eye. Had a big-ass knot behind his ear. And that was from those elbows because Benavides was throwing elbows. He was trying to rough him up. Kenny Bayless was constantly... He wasn't allowing Benavides to rough Caleb plant up. And I know a lot of people feel like, oh man, that's part of the fight game. No, it is when you're doing things within the rules. Throwing the elbows and hitting on the break, no, that's not allowed. But Kenny Bayless was very active in this fight. Very, very, very active in this fight. And people were getting annoyed with Kenny Bayless. But hey, the ref has a job to do as well. But it was a solid fight. Now, at the post-conference, Benavides changed his tune to Canelo. And I believe he changed his tune because he doesn't want Canelo to not fight him. And what I'm referring to is he said he doesn't think Canelo's ducking him. He just thinks Canelo has a lot of options. Yeah, well, not really. He does, but what options make sense? Example, he lost to Beagle. Now, he has a fight coming up in May, Canelo, and with this guy Ryder. Now, should he beat Ryder? He should. Should he beat Ryder? If he fights Beagle again, it only makes sense if he fights him at 175. Unless he's going to fight him at 168 for all the belts. But, see, this is the problem with that. Beagle doesn't campaign at 168, which means he'd be coming down. And in his first fight, without fighting a Benavides or a Caleb Plant, and these guys just fought each other to earn that right to fight Canelo. You understand? And for Caleb, it would have been a rematch with Canelo. But instead, for Beagle to come down and get that spot, nah, that makes no sense. The fight initially was for Canelo to go to 175 and get a title there again. We saw him fight Kovalev at 175. Now, I don't focus on the fanboys. They always make every kind of excuse. The excuse about Canelo being too small for 175 is BS. That's BS. It's not so much about him being too small for 175, okay? The fact is Beagle was just better than people gave him credit for. So, I don't like the idea of Beagle coming to 168 and leapfrogging over guys that's been putting that work in at 168. That's just not fair, okay? Now, the reason why Canelo was able to leapfrog over everybody at 175 and get the fight with Beagle, well, that's a money fight. You understand what I'm saying? Canelo was considered the face of boxing, and so pretty much this was like the lottery ticket for Beagle, and it was also a chance for Canelo to add another title to his collection, okay? But at the end of the day, Beagle doesn't have to prove to Canelo that he can beat him at 168. He campaigns at 175, and I don't care if it's 168 or 175. I believe Beagle beats him either way, unless Beagle is like weak and weight drained. Other than that, he beats Canelo again. It doesn't. I don't. What is Canelo going to do different? Okay, Canelo. He probably beat Canelo worse in the rematch. To be honest with you. Now he says that after the fight with Ryder, that he wants Bivol. Okay, we'll see. If he doesn't fight Bivol, then he has no excuse to not fight Benavides. And see, this is the thing where I'm saying he changed his tune, because all before he was saying, man, he's making excuses, saying he don't fight Mexicans and all that, man. And why not? This is boxing, and I agree with David Benavides. So my whole thing is, after he fights in May, well, does Benavides keep active, or does he sit back and wait and cross his fingers and see what's going to happen with Canelo? Do they start trying to negotiate with them? You can't base your career on one person. And this is the thing. For Canelo, it's only worse for him the longer he waits, because he's considerably older than Benavides. So Benavides has been calling him out for a long time. So nobody can pull that, he waited for Canelo to get old nonsense. No, Canelo was the one who didn't want to fight him. So at the end of the day, it comes down to if Canelo wants to fight. And the options that he has, he doesn't show interest. Andre, Charlo. You understand? Morrell name never comes up, because I don't think people see Morrell as being ready yet. So just to keep that in mind, I think that if for David Benavides, even if he took a lesser opponent just to keep busy, or if he's trying to keep his streak intact where he doesn't lose anything. Now, let me say, that may happen, just a stay busy fight, and nobody can really say anything about it, because Canelo has had a lot of fights with guys that we knew didn't belong in the ring with him. And then he'll fight a guy, a champion. He might not be the best champion in the division, one of the champions in the division, and then he'll go beat that person. It's all good. We know Canelo can fight. We know Benavides can fight. Now, I expected Caleb to do what he was doing, but I expected him to understand that it has to be pinpoint accuracy. It's not about so much of more of a punch output, but being accurate with your shots and making sure you're staying clear of his shots. Now, you can only do what you can do. And after the performance, a lot of people are now saying, Canelo, he'll beat Benavides. Maybe so, but I'm going to tell you the difference. See, the difference with Plant is you have to find him, because he is going to fight on the back foot. And he's going to box and move. With Canelo, I don't see either one of those guys really being so much on the back foot. It's going to be more of a stalemate. It could work for Benavides. It could work against him. It could work for Canelo. It could work against him. Canelo hits considerably harder than Caleb Plant does. So basically, it's easier for Canelo when he doesn't have to find you. And the fact that Canelo knocked Plant out and Benavides didn't, you can't go by that, man. You really can't go by that. And you have to also look at the fight with Plant and Canelo was much closer, than Benavides and Plant. It was in the earlier rounds, Caleb was winning. Caleb couldn't fight, man. That's the whole thing what people don't understand. Just because you lose don't mean you couldn't fight. Even if the guy started getting the better of you, like Benavides did, he was just the better fighter. But Plant is a good fighter, so it'll be more of a fight of basically who can avoid the bigger shots and who can take the bigger shots. Because when you stand in the pocket and fight like that, you're going to get hit. And that's what it's really going to come down to. So, regardless to who wins, we don't even know if the fight's going to happen. It's all up to Canelo. So, for Caleb Plant, I know there was a couple of people who said, he probably should just go to 175 now. Nah, that wouldn't be good. His power at 168 is not devastating. If he catch you right, he can get you out of there. If he catch you right. But the thing with him is Caleb, if he sits down on his punches for for the duration of the fight, he's going to get hit. And he's going to get cracked. These guys at 175 are coming down from like 190 something pounds, man. Even 200 pounds. Caleb would be considerably weaker than these guys, and Caleb wouldn't really have the power to hurt these guys. And pressure alone, once Caleb they start wearing him down, and their blows are much heavier, he'd lose the guys that wasn't even as skilled as him, just because they were just too big and just too strong. You understand? Because you don't have to be the biggest puncher, but when you got skills, see, now for the people that were saying Caleb fight just like Floyd, is like, stop it, stop, just stop it, man. And then they'll say, well, Canelo's way better now than what he was. Stop it. It just shows you how great Floyd was. That's the whole point of what I'm saying about skills, because Floyd wasn't the biggest puncher. He had respectable power, and Canelo wasn't trying to walk through Floyd because he couldn't see the punches coming. Every time he tried getting smacked upside, like, okay, damn. And then when he tried, Floyd is not there. Caleb doesn't have that kind of defensive ability, as well as he don't have the pinpoint accuracy like Floyd. He's nothing like Floyd. Stop it. He's that type of boxer to, like, he's a boxer, but he's not a Floyd Mayweather. You know, but anyway, just to say, you know, again, man, it was a solid fight. I liked the fight. In fact, the whole card was actually entertaining, man. This has been a long time since I watched the whole card and felt like, okay. You know, the last time I saw a whole card that I actually did like was the Shields Marshall, you know, Baumgartner, and, you know, yeah, that was the last time I seen a whole card. I'm like, okay, I was really just into every fight. So, salute to both of them. Hopefully, Canelo beat this guy Ryder like he's supposed to. And truthfully, I say, you know what, man? You already fought Bivol and you lost. Fight Benavides. Why not? Don't have these guys fight and win fights, and then the expectations is that because you won this fight, you're elevated to this particular fight, then the fight doesn't happen. You know, that's one thing about boxing. Every time boxing takes a step forward, it takes 5 steps backwards. These are fights that need to happen. So, it was a solid performance by both guys. And Caleb doesn't have anything to hold his head down about, man. If he went in there and held back and didn't do his best, then yeah, you can feel that way. You still always want to win. But Caleb is always classy, man. And he never has any negative things to say about people. He basically just responds and reacts to what people say or do towards him. But I've never heard Caleb just come out at somebody and just start talking trash for no reason. I've never heard that. I've heard him, you know, like I said, respond because somebody said or did something that he didn't like, and then he may react, you know, but I've never heard him just attack people. And, you know, the thing is, Caleb is better than people give him credit for. And that's why his opponents go through this cycle themselves out. Didn't we just see Anthony Durrell do the same thing? Pretend he hates him. Just to, you know, I don't hate Caleb. I just did that to sell the fight. If I didn't do that, the fight wouldn't have sold. No, the fight would have sold. Because Durrell is established and he still has something left in the tank. And they, you know, we wanted to see what Caleb had left. Well, did he improve since the Canelo fight, you know? And it's his first fight back since then. So the fight would have sold. You don't need all of this bullshit to sell a fight, man. That's to the casuals. And for the real boxing fans that just enjoy that part of the game, well, you guys know yourself. The truth is, if these guys are not barking at each other, the only thing I'm going to say is, you know, you don't have to bark to make an interesting press conference, but we start looking at the press conference like it's a damn soap opera. No, that's not what's going to determine what's going to happen in the ring. Because I can sit here and say, that's my man right here. After this fight, we going to go out and chill. But please believe I'm going to beat that ass in the ring. You're not going to think we cool in that ring. You understand what I'm saying? No, I'm going to beat that ass. I'm not coming to spar with you. We fighting for millions of dollars and feeding our families with this, and I'm going to come in there and play. Nah. You know what it is. I'm going to beat that ass. Now, if you're not able to make it out, to go chill afterward, because when you get better, heal up, we'll make it happen. No hard feelings. There's no grudge. You're trying to do the same thing to me. I'm just not going to let you. I'm going to get you. And I can take it. Can you take it? We're warriors, man. That's what the fuck we do. So we don't have to do, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then just to go in there and hug and embrace and say, I just said that to sell the fight. Like, that's just, you know, I don't get caught up into all of that. So, you know, if a press conference is weak, then it's weak. Joseph Parker And Joe Joyce had one of the most, it wasn't because they wasn't beefing. It was just stupid. Like what they would just, it was just like I'm sitting there looking at them, and it's like, what are they even talking about, man? It's like they were just having conversations. You know, it's like they almost could have sat there and said, "Yo, what you eat for lunch this morning? I mean today. What you had this morning for lunch? Oh, okay, yeah, me too. Yeah, I like the eggs too. Yeah, the pancakes. Like, did you have? Yeah." They might as well just sit there and they were just talking, and they were trying to talk shit. It just, everybody's not. That's not for everybody. You understand what I mean? But look at what happened in the ring. Did they go in there and hold back? No. Them dudes went in there and tried to take each other out, and that's my point. That's what it's about. The press conference doesn't do all of that. You don't need all of that. But this fight lived up to the hype. It lived up to the hype. So it is what it is. And when Caleb wasn't throwing punches back, he was getting hurt, man. Benavides hurt him several times, but Caleb took them shots to the head and to the body. He took those shots, but he was getting hit solidly, man. And the way he was reacting, believe me, them type of shots can take some years off your boxing career, man. You know, but nobody was hurt seriously, and maybe they'll do it again, maybe not. Wishing both of them nothing but the best. Talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.